Check this out.
Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco. Brought to you by Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. The National Medal of Honor Museum. Join the mission at mohmuseum.org. Buffalo Wild Wings. If it's game day, Buffalo Wild Wings is the place to be. Alltech Lansing. Just listen with Alltech Lansing. Perfecting sound since 1927. And by SWBC Mortgage. Customized solutions to help you meet your personal and business goals. Visit SWBC.com. Now your hosts, Nate Newton and Bobby Belt.
Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to Cowboys Crosstalk. We are live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco. I'm Bobby Belt from 105.3 The Fan. Yes, indeed. I'm owning it, Nate.
Yes.
I'm joined tonight by Will Chambers from 105.3 The Fan.
We'll see for how long. Yes.
As always, we've got the three-time Super Bowl champion and six-time Pro Bowler Nate Newton here with us.
That is I.
And our special guest tonight is 10-year NFL veteran, one of the most lovable players in NFL history.
One of my favorite neighbors
Joe
ever.
Looney. This is your neighbor. You guys were bonding over that earlier, Will.
Looney.
Yeah, a few years ago.
Love it. Gave me the 10 years, too. Does mine have any Super Bowls underneath it? Any bullet points? You might have to look real small.
Nate can let you hold one. Well, no, I forgot. Nate told us a couple weeks ago that's a different day rate. Bringing the Super Bowl ring up here.
Yeah, a little different.
Yeah, but me and Chambers, man, we used to walk right across the street, man.
I mean, just right here.
Right across the street, dude.
So you've stayed in Frisco pretty much the entire time after your NFL career ended?
Yeah, pretty much. And
that's
once
great.
they built these apartments right here, I was like, man, I'm getting a little spot right here.
Right.
It was perfect.
Me and Cole Hickey-Tini stayed there, man, and we used to ride our little scooters, race over here, see who could get to work first, man. It was a great time.
So it was Ty and D-Law riding the bicycles, and y'all were doing the motorized scooters.
We're doing the motorized scooters
to get over here. That's good. Now, I was looking at some stuff, and I was very surprised. I had no idea that after your NFL career, you ended up becoming a high school teacher around it.
Dude.
And you were teaching history, which this now means we have two history buffs, I guess, that have come through over the last decade, because it's you and Rod Marinelli that are just obsessed with history. Rod Marinelli can just drop you every fact about every war in the history of the globe. But talk to us a little bit about what drove you that direction to get into teaching so quickly after your NFL career ended.
Yeah, man. So when I got done, I really had a passion for football. I mean, naturally that would come. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go coach. And thankfully, I had my wife, man. She was really pushing me to get out of the house and do something. Maybe I was getting on her nerves or something.
Right. Get this guy out of my hair
come
for
on,
a
get
minute.
out of here. You got to go do something. But, man, it was really great. But, I pursued that coaching. And out here in Texas, you cannot be a coach unless you're a teacher. So I had to go and get my teaching certificate and everything. But, man, I quickly realized that Texas high school football, it's like Friday Night Lights. It's a religion. I'm sitting there doing interviews with coaches, and they're like, we meet Monday through Sunday. And I'm just like, man, that is, radical. Love it for the players and the guys. Yeah, it's intense. It's intense. But, that whole year I was down at Sam Houston in Arlington. And that whole year, man, loved coaching, loved being around the guys, but the time commitment, that it took away from the family, I was like, yeah, man, I just played 10 years, we'll say 10.
Rounding up.
Yeah, we'll say 10 years. And I just didn't want to take too much time away from my family, but fell in love with the teaching portion of it. I mean, I call teaching the ultimate improv. If you're an actor or you want to perform, I mean, it's the ultimate performance. And your crowd is subjected to you. They can't go anywhere. They can't do anything. And thankfully I don't have any behavioral issues, It's cool.
That's a good talent there. That's very good. Yeah, I like
maybe
that.
just because I'm big and whatnot, but who knows? I would like to imagine that the kids just enjoy me so much.
Hey,
every now and then, I'll go Mr. Olympia on them. Hey, you got to bring that thing right here.
Can there be any doubt that he's not the most popular teacher in that school?
Oh, he's got to be. He's got to be, right?
I mean,
Let's put it to a vote right now.
I would easily vote for
We'll
you.
throw
no
it
doubt
out on
about
Twitter and make sure we tag all.
Yeah, there we go. You can let us know on Twitter if Joe Looney's your favorite Frisco high school teacher.
Oh yeah, there it is. Vote for Looney.
Exactly. I think it's perfect. Now, you mentioned you were kind of surprised by that aspect of teaching, though, how you got into it for coaching. It's like, oh, this is the tag along. Jeff Ulbrich, the interim coach right now for the Jets, had a really cool story last week where they were asking him about when he realized he wanted to coach, and he said, Patrick Willis was drafted in San Francisco to replace me, basically. Mm-hmm. So my job became, I'm Patrick Willis's cheerleader and mentor, and that's kind of my job. And he said there was a game that they were playing, and Patrick Willis made a tackle, and he said he jumped up and he swung his head around. He said because it was something Ulbrich had been hitting him with all week of look for this, do this. Mm-hmm. And he said Patrick Willis looked at him and nodded, and it connected with him in a way of like, oh my gosh, that's better than any play I've made in my life, was like helping him get that way.
Oh, yeah.
Did you experience anything like that when you got into the teaching realm where you're like, oh my gosh, this is just as good as any football experience I had or anything like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so hats off to, what's the
Jeff
coach?
Ulbrich.
Yeah, Jeff Ulbrich. I mean, that's something that's hard to do, is teach your, the guy they drafted, to come in and take your job, to teach them something. That's, it's a really amazing story. But with school, man, I fell in love with just being around the teenagers, man, being around that mindset. And I think, to sum it up, man, Coach Garrett used to come in, to our team meetings, and he used to just be on cloud 9 walking into our meetings. And I'm just like, why is this dude so happy?
Right.
I'm about to go out here. We're about to do inside drill, and this dude's, walking in here just, happy-go-lucky. But he used to walk into the team meeting rooms, and he always used to say, man, this doesn't feel like a job to me. It doesn't feel like a job. And at the time, sarcastic Joe, football Joe was like, yeah, coach, we love you, man, but it feels like a job. But I really understand, what he's saying now. When you wake up and you have this enthusiasm, this passion to go to work, I mean, it doesn't feel like work when you're doing it, but it directly comes from the students. Being able to help the students out and help them put life together to help them out, because I mean, if you go onto a high school campus right now and you hear some of the students talk and you're just like, man, I used to have that mindset. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, please teach me. Yes, please, for the love of goodness, teach me. But
we were all that way.
yeah, right?
I swear.
Except me. I spent more time in the principal office.
Dude, right? And then, that was the worst for you, man. When your high school football coach figures out
in there when you have to go down there?
Oh, yeah, you're being a class clown.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it was funny. I was just talking to one of my teachers. His name's Mr. Walker. He played some baseball.
Right.
And we were talking today how if you messed up on a test or got caught cheating, teacher used to write that X on there with the line. He's just like, oh, you want me to get this signed by my parents? Cool deal. But then they say, no, we're getting it signed by coach.
Oh,
yes.
boy.
Oh, man, how long am I going to have to run now?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, dude, how long am I going to have to do it?
It's interesting. You're talking about you got around Texas high school football a little bit, and you said, oh, this is like Friday Night Lights and things like that. And we were having a discussion recently over on 105 Through the Fan about the idea of it's reaching a point where middle school athletics is almost kind of like the last bastion of amateurs, because college NIL has been taken over. And for a state like Texas, high school sports it's big business.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
it is.
And you find that the pressure that these kids are under and the type of, things that go on above the table and beneath the table that are it's a lot for a teenager to deal with. When you got around high school football a little bit, or now even just being in the classroom setting and probably being around athletes in the classroom and stuff like that, how much did that strike you, that aspect of it, of like, wow, this high school game here right now is so different than the one that maybe I even came up in?
Yeah, I think so. The first thing that jumps off to me is you got to teach the game differently, or just teach the mindset differently, because you got to instill into these kids like, hey, we're performing now. There's a performance-based expectation that we have to have if you're going to be getting these, high school NIL deals. And you tell them like, guys, this is another reason to work. I mean, you really can set yourself up, springboard yourself, into your next career while making a little bit of money. I mean, but I tell you what, I got a chance to watch some of the highlights of that Duncanville DeSoto game.
Right.
And the product they put on the field, I mean, you have to crave that big-time high school football, because I know for sure when Texas high school football championships come around, I'll definitely be down there at AT&T watching, you know, because the product, man.
The amazing thing, who was Joe Looney, man, and Will and Ben. I mean, it is so amazing because now family members, parents have always been into big Friday night. When I first got here, I called some friends back home, some homeboys, and said, look here, homie. It's more junior colleges here than you can shake a stick at. Mm-hmm. And then I rolled up to these junior colleges, and all of them were high schools because they all had their own stadiums. And I had to call my guys back and say, yo, man, I was wrong. These are high school. I had never seen nothing like that coming from Florida. Mm-hmm. We had a central place we played, right? A central stadium, and it was like 6 of them located all around the state. Not here. Texas has always been able to build their own stadiums. I'm talking about the high schools.
Yeah.
And so
but it
now kids are getting a little bit of jack for doing this. Wow.
Nate, I called college football games for 6 years at an NAIA school.
Wow.
I come down here, every stadium is a nicer venue than at any other place I've been to at college places.
That's right.
And when it comes to the NIL, what I do appreciate about it is that for some of these kids, it's a little bit different when we're talking high school to college, but certainly from college to pro, that this may be the only time that they ever make money from playing football.
That's right.
It really might. It really might be.
Because you got to understand now, there's some guys that played 3 years of college that have made upwards of $75,000 a year. They don't get drafted.
Yeah, right.
Don't even get drafted.
Right.
And even, not even a free agent walk-on. That's a slap there, bro.
You know, I think this is a good topic a little bit for us to carry over.
Yeah.
Nate is very upset about the Detroit game. Nate doesn't want to talk about Nate doesn't want to talk about himself.
Nah.
So maybe we're going to get into
I don't even know what you're talking
We're going to get into some broader questions about the NFL and life, I guess.
We're going to talk about this sunset we're looking at.
Exactly. When we come back.
Joe Looney's flexing on his kids.
Oh, dude. Got to let them know still got it.
Yeah, when we come back, what is the meaning of life? That is next with Joe Looney, Nate Newton, Will Chambers, here on the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk.
Go Cowboys! Back to SWBC Mortgage's Dallas Cowboys Crosstalk.
Yeah, check this out.
Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
At SWBC, customized solutions for individuals and businesses are just a click away. Visit SWBC.com to learn more and start your next adventure. We are live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco for the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk. I'm Bobby Belt from 105.3 The Fan, joined by my 105.3 The Fan teammate Will Chambers. We've got the 6-time Pro Bowler, 3-time Super Bowl champ, future NFL Hall of Famer Nate Newton here with us. And then we've got our special guest tonight, the man who's about to tell us the entire meaning of life, Socrates, Joe Looney, has joined us. All right, so we were talking a little bit about the NIL stuff and how it's happening at the high school level and into the college sports, and we're going to get into some stuff, Joe, about your time here with the Cowboys, and then Nate, we are going to get into a little bit about the game. I'm sorry,
okay, which
a
game?
little bit.
Teeny weeny.
The one that was played this past Sunday.
So that game.
We'll have to get that a little bit. But
Talking about the Ravens and the Commanders.
It was a good game, right?
It was.
But one of the things I want to carry over from that NIL talk is, Nate, you've talked before about how you wonder if this Cowboys team in recent years, have they had the right toughness? Has there been too much entitlement? Like are guys really prepared to be Dallas Cowboys? Dallas for a long time, people felt like they draft from big schools a lot of times to give you some sort of level of preparation for what this might kind of be like. That challenge, for both you guys, this question, the challenge of in these next coming 5 to 10 years for NFL teams of you're going to get players coming into the league who have been living an NFL type of lifestyle potentially from junior year of high school.
Yes, sir.
How much more difficult is that going to be to reach those players and check that entitlement and make sure that you've got guys who are ready to give it up for a 53-man purpose, like 53 guys moving as one?
I think it's definitely going to be tough, and I think it's going to put more emphasis on what we see at the combine, more of sitting down and talking with these athletes, these student athletes, and really trying to figure out if they love the game of football or not. Because it's, hey, look, when you're getting paid, there's going to be a love for the game because, hey, you're getting paid, but do you really love it? Do you really love the game? Are you doing those little things on the side that, take you from being a good player to a great player? And I think it's really going to be on how these individuals perform in these, combine settings. How can I figure out the most about this kid in 10 or 20 minutes?
You're going to find out scouts think they have a hard job now because the good scouts don't go to your head coach first. They go to your trainer. They go to your equipment guy.
Yep.
Now, and they sometimes research your high school if you're a first 2 or 3 rounder. Now they're going back further. They're going to really have to say, you know what type of guy was Nate when he was in the 9th grade? They're going to find some people that know. And if they're going to try to find that common thread of do you love the game?
Yeah.
Did he ever play when he was hurt? Because you got to understand, parents going to be like, nah, my baby ain't playing in this game. He's hurt.
Yeah.
And will the kid say, Mom, I'm playing. I'm paying the bills. Or Dad, I'm playing. So you're going to find that scouts are going to be another level. It's going to have to be that way. Because if you let a kid fall into your lap and we don't know what the money will be at that time, and this kid be like, man, forget y'all. Well, you're going to be hurt. And that's your first or second round pick?
Well, I think it's just going to be at every level because what you have right now is essentially what used to be the boosters. I'm forgetting the name of it right now, but the collective, right?
Yeah.
At each of these schools. And
they're
calling it payroll. This is about making payroll. And if you have, like, say, the situation you had with the kid at UNLV that was promised certain things,
right?
And but we don't know exactly what the situation was to where maybe he thought he was getting it all up front. Well, I was promised $100,000 or $500,000 or whatever it may be. When the fact of the matter is it may become a rude awakening that, well, you're not getting that all up front. You're going to be getting that weekly because if all of a sudden you're not living up to your part of the bargain, that money may go away. I think whether or not they're going to be doing contracts and things like that, it's going to be a very
do contracts. This kid agent dropped the ball.
Hey.
When have you ever walked into 105 and said, hey, man, I want this and I want that, and shook somebody's hand without giving them a pen and a piece of paper? His agent dropped the ball.
Thursday of last week.
So all of this you're talking about, kids are allowed to have a representative, whether it's his parents, a guardian, or a agent. It ain't no such thing. When they brought this rule in, or let people be able to be paid, now you can have representation. So this kid, agent dropped the ball.
I'm curious. You guys both mentioned something here about the question of does he love football? And I feel like when scouts or coaches or people or players talk about that, the idea of loving the game, things like that, sometimes you'll get, I think, fans who kind of roll their eyes and go like, well, if they can play, they can play. Like, what do I care if it's their favorite thing in the world or if they have other issues or whatever like that exists like that? You don't have to name anybody, but do you guys have instances in your career where you think of guys where you're like, if he cared about it, my gosh, he could have been so much better than he was. There was no real love for the game, and that completely killed the talent.
Let me say this quickly.
Yeah, go right
Let
ahead.
me say this quickly. Brothers, and I'm coming men, what we did, people don't like getting hit. That don't change. If you don't like getting hit, but God has given you ungodly skills, you're going to put up with it for only so long before you get tired of getting hit.
Right.
Yeah, so if you don't like getting hit, I knew guys like that. Once they got that bag or what they thought was enough in that bag, they got out. People don't like getting hit, so the casual fan can say whatever he or she wants, but that is not a normal thing to get hit.
Getting out, do you mean literally got out
Yes.
or mentally got out and collected more?
They mentally was never in it.
Okay.
They had the God-given talent. Some people just are over the top with God-gifted talent. So they can get by. Whereas I had to work in Looney, we had to work. So you had to build up some type of want to, whether it was I'm doing it for my mom, whether, I like the kid, mom, I'm killing folks just because I like to kill folks. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to let Joe have it.
Yeah, man, and I think it's really one of these things that you can see it in the person's career.
Yes.
It's going to show up, especially in the NFL. When you're going against the best of the best every week, it's going to show up. If you're not doing what you need to do to play the game the right way, I mean, it's going to show up in your career. But you got those guys like that, like me and Nate say, hey, you got to work. You got to work for it. You get those God-given guys that just have this crazy natural talent. But you can tell by how the guy carries himself.
Yes.
How does he operate? Is he thinking like a Michael Jordan? Is he thinking like, a Tom Brady? You can tell. You can tell when a guy's – he has that just – look, this is great, the money, everything that comes along with the NFL, but I am trying to be great. I want my name to be remembered in this game. And that's how you really can tell the difference.
I got two questions kind of related to this real quick for both of you. Who's the best example of somebody you've played with that was that sicko obsessed, just like this game is everything to me that you guys have
Michael
played?
Irvin for me. Michael Irvin, man. I saw him come through a knee injury that was putting people out of the league or was making them just average. I saw Michael go through that mentally, and he didn't treat his knee right the first time, and they went back in there and they broke it and re-broke it down and broke all the scar tissue. He came back that second time with a vengeance, and it's like Mike did not miss a beat. He would be out at 1, 2 in the morning just running with a big 25-pound weight thing on, running back, running
Different
forward.
mindset.
Yes.
Man. The mindset.
And the other
Still
guy,
comes through.
And the other guy that I know that was like that was Jerry Rice.
Yeah, I think, mine's a wide receiver too. I would have to say Dez Bryant. A lot of people, I think, had Dez confused, man. Dez was one of the ultimate competitors.
Yes.
I mean, he would want to do a one-on-one just to make you look bad.
Yeah.
Not because how much he's like, hey, I'm going to give you this. They call what's the contemporary? They say head top. It's moss, guys. It's not head top. You got moss. Look at this head top. But, I mean, you see him out in practice, man. It's just like, I just want to go beat you just because I'm a competitor. I want to win.
Is it overstated or understated, the effect one way or the other in the locker room? If you know a guy on the team that is just with that God-given and isn't totally invested, because it gets talked about a lot, like, I don't know, is it the word cancer in the locker room type of thing happen? And on the other side, the ones that grab you and pull you forward, are they any of those over or understated?
The guys that we played with, I was fortunate to have Coach Johnson, Tom Landry, and then we had, I can't think of his name, bless his heart, he came from Pittsburgh, offensive
Chan
coordinator.
Gailey.
Chan Gailey.
Yeah, spot on.
Okay. These guys didn't allow it. These guys did not allow it. So when they figured out that you were that type of guy, you were gone. And ain't no guarantee money back then. Mm-hmm. When you were gone, the money stopped. So
it's a little different in your time.
Yeah, man, a little different. But you know what? When I was really thankful during my career when I got here to the Dallas Cowboys, man, because the O-line was just just an entity. I mean, they were so good at what they did. And when you join that kind of room, it just, you got no choice but to be better, even if you don't want to.
Yes.
It's like, man, I see the way these dudes are working. I don't want to be, that kink in the chain that lets them down. What do they say on Platoon?
Yeah.
When the machine breaks down, we break down.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Hey, we're not trying to be that.
Yeah, they say a lot in Platoon. I don't know that I reference all of it. All right, we're about to take a break.
Smell.
We're about to take a break. Before we do, I'm going to drop a question for both of you that you can think about while we're over the break.
Right.
So I'm curious, big personalities, colorful characters, both you guys, like jokesters, everything like that. The idea you guys talking about loving football and wanting that, I want to hear y'all's perspective on if you ever had to fight misconceptions with talent evaluators or coaches who misunderstood your personalities and that colorful character as being somebody who didn't love football and how you had to fight that. So we're going to get those answers from Joe Looney and Nate Newton when we come back here on the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk.
Go Cowboys! Back to SWBC Mortgage's Dallas Cowboys Crosstalk.
Yeah, check this out.
Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
At SWBC, customized solutions for individuals and businesses are just a click away. Visit SWBC.com to learn more and start your next adventure. We're live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco for the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk. I'm Bobby Belt from 105 through the Fan. We've got Will Chambers from 105 through the Fan. Nate Newton, 6-time Pro Bowler, 3-time Super Bowl champion. I got to list the accolades every time. It just feels incomplete if I don't. And then our special guest tonight, who's dropping all sorts of knowledge on us this evening, is one Joe Looney.
Teacher.
So, Joe, I asked both you and Nate before we heading to break. You guys both were talking about how critical, loving football is in order to make it, especially when the talent margins are so narrow at that level. But as two guys who y'all were jokesters and big-time personalities, how much did you guys run into resistance from coaches or scouts or talent evaluators who said, I don't think he loves football because he has that big personality, and how you had to show them, hey, my work ethic's here. Did you have to work harder, display harder things?
Yeah, I think it happened a lot, a lot for me. And I think one of those things is that I've always had this, kid-like spirit that I've never wanted to lose, because I think that's when you're having the most fun. But you have to show your coaches, hey, coach, I'm a professional at what I do. I'm not a spectator. I understand, hey, there's a time I can joke, and then there's a time that I shouldn't be joking. And I think as you get comfortable with coaches, and it takes time. There's always growing pains in there. But as a coach sees you and learns about your ways, how you operate, then they come to know, hey, Looney's just a darn jokester over here. It's just something I got to deal with from him. But when that dude puts his helmet on and he buttons up that chin strap, hey, I know what I'm getting out of this cat, man. I know that, hey, 100% is always coming from this dude.
Real quick before Nate, can I pop in? I just want to know, how much does Travis play a role in that too? Did he step in and be like, no, this cat, we share the position. Is he also one that steps up for you and nah, man, for real?
Oh, yeah. And me and Trav, man, just being good buddies and also competing to be the best, I think made us better players in the end of it. It's I saw Trav a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about how, hey, we needed each other. We needed each other to push each other, to make each other better, but we always had that, in the back of the meeting room, kiki, ha-ha, laughing and whatnot.
To see it.
I tell you what, man. Yeah, hee, ha-ha, man, making fun of the coaches, doing all that stuff, keeping things lighthearted, but knowing that, hey, man, when it comes Sunday and it's time to strap up, man, these dudes know, hey, it's no more kiki, ha-ha out here. We're going to kick some tail.
All my life, I've been a big jokester. Football, I did not love football. I was a big jokester. I liked to play. And what happened was my junior high coach found out that, okay, this dude ain't a joke. The best offensive lineman that played the year before, I didn't play until my 8th or 9th grade year. And they said, we're going to put Kevin Lewis on you. We'll show you, because I was a big jokester. I looked at Coach and I'm saying in my mind, don't get Kevin hurt. I'm just saying, I'm saying this in my mind. Because we used to have these boards. And if the guy got up under you, he can bend you over that board. Well, the first time I bent him over the board, and Kevin huffed up on me. I look like, hey, man, they picked me. I didn't, So I'm going to crack another joke, and Coach you can't do that to him again. And Kevin Lewis all hot, right? I bent him over the board again, and a little bit worse. I'm like,
sorry, Kev.
Yeah, but my thing is this right here.
Hopefully your back's okay.
Yeah, somewhere Kev is seething somewhere.
That happened in that happened in junior high. That happened again in high school, where it's like I'm joking and playing, and it's like Nate don't like football. They used to say Nate don't like football, but I do like beating you up. Mm-hmm. I'm serious. That was my thing is. And coach and all my coaches would tell you, he may come in here in shape. He may be out of shape 30 or 40 pounds. But when you line up, dog, you better bring everything you got. And it's a competitor in you that not going to let you fail in that way, man. And so, but now as time went on, I started to see the value of football and the value of team and not letting my teammates. That drove me more than anything, because I was so scared about letting Troy and Emmett and Mike and Coach Johnson, all these guys down. drove me to another level.
Yeah, and that's where the love of that game.
Yeah.
That's where it comes
Yeah, that's
from,
where it
man.
comes
Being
from,
with
bro.
that brotherhood.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
You know, you mentioned, Joe, the back and forth that you and Travis had, that like, you know, that pushed each other and made each other better. I remember I was talking to Darren Woodson one time, and Woody was saying that, you know, when you get Thomas Everett in here, you trade for Thomas Everett, and Ray Horton as a veteran is like a little threatened, and then you get James Washington and Brock Marion, and you start putting all these guys back there, and it's like that balance of competitiveness versus bitterness of somebody coming to take my job. And Woody had always talked about the better the room was, the more stacked with talent, the more we pushed each other, the better it was. I'm sure you ran into that. We've referenced it before. The late, great Larry Allen, how you said, dear God, please don't let this man play guard. like, please don't let him play guard. Ron Stone, like really good players who
they cut me for Ron. The coach, the Steelers coach.
Chan Gailey.
Yeah. You cut me. I don't know your name.
Yeah, right.
He
You
told
purged
me,
him
though,
from your
I
memory.
respect him. I respect him. He said, Nate, if you stay here, I can't start Ron Stone. We want to play Ron Stone, and you got his job. But I shook his hand, all right, coach, and walked out of the building, you know.
Well, how much does that, though, and then let's bring it back to these current-day Cowboys. When there's a Trey Lance that's traded for, and people are like, what are you doing here with this? Or there's Cooper Rush, and he's going to field, and you've got a quarterback room where people worry about. Basically what I'm saying is when there's a room full of guys where there's perceived, you know, jockeying for position, how often is the reality actually that some of that exists as we're all alphas here, we're trying to, but at the end of the day, it usually is just pushing people to be better and work towards something bigger.
Right, because you're only as good as your weakest link.
That's
You know,
right.
and it's like, hey, man, everybody on this team has to do what they need to do for us to be successful. And if you're a true competitor, any true competitor, you want to be going up against the best because you want to know, hey, am I the best or not? You know, what do I need to work on to be that? You know, and you look back on it, you think about games. I think about games in the NFL. You know, we didn't blow people out, but when you had those blowouts, you know, it's like, all right, you know, we beat them up pretty good. But when you're going against the best and you have a grind to grind it out,
that game is
field
field goal.
Oh
my God, that's
inside it just does something to you. You know, it's just like, oh man, we went against the best and we conquered it, man. That's
the Giants. One year it was the Giants won the Super Bowl. Then it was 1 year Washington won the Super Bowl. Then we came and won the Super Bowl. Then we went back. And every year we knew when we played the 49ers or we played Green Bay, it was going to be nip and tuck. And so you could not think about it. I mean, I'm telling you,
so
that is something.
One of the
that
things, I don't know,
turns the stomach.
at Valley Ranch.
Yeah.
At Valley Ranch.
Yes.
So my first year here was our last spring semester
Right.
at Valley Ranch,
Right.
I guess you
I'm
could
sorry.
say. Yeah, right. I'll tell you what, boy. But, man, that facility was just full of football.
Yeah.
Full of football.
Yeah.
But when you go sit down to use the bathroom in the commode, whatever you want to talk about
Yeah.
it, Coach Garrett had these quotes in there.
Yeah.
You know, and one of them was the man in the arena. So you're sitting there doing what you got to do, and you're just reading this, you know, before you get ready to go out to OTAs, and it's so true. It's like, hey, you know, if I'm going to put myself out here, and I'm going to get in the arena of winning and losing, I'm going to exhaust myself, irregardless of what the outcome is. I'm going to exhaust myself to know that, hey, man, I gave it my all. I did what I had to do for the team. And if you do that, man, you can go to sleep with your head held high.
So while you were sitting there, did you really exhaust yourself?
Oh, dude, exhausted. I mean, you know.
Okay, let me ask you on that though. All right, so in taking that Teddy Roosevelt quote and then looking back on Sunday, you can have these games. These games happen. You've been on the wrong side of a blowout like that.
Oh, yeah.
Did it ever look just like that, Nate?
Right.
Yeah, I've been on. Yeah. Wow.
When you look at these teams in the bubble that they are in right now, and you're thinking about the man in the arena, because they are taking a lot of criticism. They all are, from the very top, obviously, all the way down. Put that in the context of the man in the arena. What does it mean what's really happening with the team right now?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, as athletes, we subject ourselves to it, and we know what comes along with that. We know what comes along with the media. I think as any good professional athlete, you're going to know how to navigate that world. But at this point in the season, if you're one of those guys in the locker room, we talked a little bit about the questions that they had, but, there's only really, one thing you got to be asking yourself. It's like, how bad do I want it? How bad do I want this? Are we gonna cry about this spilled milk? Are we gonna find a solution to go and win football games? And mind you, hey, we might not go and win all of them, but we got to figure it out on how we're gonna put our best foot forward and compete. Put ourselves
Looney,
in position.
Baby, Looney.
Hey, dude, I'm getting chilled, man. I'm about to go
Joe
play,
Looney,
dude. Put some pads on. Baby, you see me over here? About to put the pads on. Hey, honey. Hey, sweetheart, you're so pretty. I don't know why I'm doing this New York accent, but I love you.
All right, I'm going to hit. We've got one more break we got to hit really quick. I'm going to hit Looney with a question. It's the same one we gave to Tyrone Crawford a couple weeks ago. So I'm definitely going to give you 3 minutes to think about this one. Losses like the one we were just talking about and the pressure that's magnified when you feel like people's jobs are on the line. I want to know that for you guys in the 2019 season, when you knew so many jobs were on the line, if you felt internally that pressure of what was on the line for people that you were playing for and playing under. So we're going to get Joe Looney's thoughts on that. That's next on the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk.
Oh, yeah.
Everything you need in one place, making it easy to achieve.
Go Cowboys!
Back to SWBC Mortgage's Dallas Cowboys Crosstalk.
Yeah, check this out.
Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
At SWBC, customized solutions for individuals and businesses are just a click away. Visit SWBC.com to learn more and start your next adventure. We are live from the Cowboys Club, the Star in Frisco. For the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk, I'm Bobby Belt from 105 Through the Fan.
Yes, he is.
I've got Will Chambers from 105 Through the Fan.
Yes,
Nate
he
Newton,
is.
the six-time Pro Bowler, three-time Super Bowl champion. And then we've got our special guest tonight, Joe Looney. The poll results are in. The straw poll results are in. The most popular high school teacher in Frisco ISD.
Probably in the entire, there you go, entire ISD.
Knocked it out.
You heard it right here, folks.
It was very informal, but the results did play out that way. All right, so Joe, I asked you before we left. 2019 was a year where very publicly discussions were had by general manager, coach, everybody else about, the head coach is in the last year of his deal, and he's going to just have to play this out and earn his opportunity. And that was the year you guys started out 3-0.
Yeah.
Then there was 3 straight losses after that, and it was a lot of back and forth. There was the very prominent, I think it was the Bills Thanksgiving game right after Michael Bennett got here, and Michael Bennett was screaming in the locker room how upset he was with everything. So it was a very difficult and kind of, up and down sort of year. What I'm curious about is when we talk in the media, or you hear discussions in the media about, focus on the job, and after every single loss, did you guys feel that way? And in turn, do you think the players right now feel that sort of weight of every single loss of, man, this is going to be a loud week?
Mm-hmm. I think the players are definitely feeling it. I think as a player, when you get these contracts and everybody's, getting paid and everybody's happy, you definitely feel a sense of, hey, we got to go out here and perform. And if you watch that game on Sunday, it almost looks like the guys are just, kind of so tense and
straining.
Got to make a play right now instead of just, hey, let's just go out here, let these plays come to us. But when when the play shows up, you got to make it. And just doing the mundane things the correct way. Doing those day-to-day routine runs, routine throws, at a high level. But also, there is a sense of, however, this is going on, but it does give you this, hey, man, we got nothing to lose. We got nothing to lose, so let's just go play. Let's just go play, and when we put one together that we're proud of, we'll go back and watch this and build off of it. And this is what we'll use as our foundation, man. All right?
This is a sort of in that similar vein, I guess, in terms of hearing noise. And Nate, I can't remember if I've asked you this before. If I have, I'm going to ask you again because I'm curious. When they talk about a common word you hear in NFL circles in Dallas and outside of here is the phrase, block out the noise, block out the noise, block out the noise, block out the noise. When you're talking about the Dallas Cowboys and such a prominent role, and take it to other sports, the Yankees, the Celtics, the Lakers, wherever else you want to take it, is blocking out the noise a reasonable strategy to hand your players, or do you instead need to say, I know you're going to hear it, and instead I'm going to show you this is how you compartmentalize it, this is how you put context to it, and this is how you deal with it?
Yeah, I think you tell them, you're going to hear the noise. Especially being with the Dallas Cowboys, with that star, anywhere that star goes, you're going to hear the noise. And it goes back to just being a professional. Guys, hey, X, Y, and Z are going to say whatever they have to say about you because that's what they're doing. That's their job. All right, but we have a job to do also. We got to go out here and perform. That's what we do. You're a performer, so you go out there and you perform.
The thing is, first of all, and it's going to hurt some people feeling, they had the players to do it. They had an O-line that could do it. We had the players that can do it. The Cowboys is in a flux right now. Too many young players, too many old players, not enough dogs in the middle. So they're in a bad flux right now. You asking third-teamers and guys that was on practice squads to fear your defense. Yeah. Guys coming off injuries. Guys are beat up. So we were in different deals. We could see the light. When we gave up the 11 sacks against Philadelphia, we were a young team with Jimmy. And we started to grow right from that. Y'all that bad loss against Buffalo, but y'all started to grow right because you had – right now this team doesn't have the players or the mentality. So you may see a little bit more of that. I hope not. Y'all know how I feel.
Yeah.
But right now, defensively, we don't have it. The only thing we have is a young offensive line trying to pull themselves together to give our star players a chance to prosper.
How about this when we were just talking during the break and a little bit here in the beginning about the 2008 season, and I, was wondering about how, things got turned around, right? I mean, the Amari Cooper trade, and there's times when there's the noise, and you can say block out the noise, but there's times where the noise can galvanize teams, right?
Right.
What about the opposite of it? When there is noise and it's valid, does that hit a locker room?
No. Players hit locker rooms. Disgruntled players. What you need for your stars is you got to see enthusiasm. Like he was talking about Jason Garrett. You like him or dislike him, you never saw him down. You never saw him not trying to work.
And brought energy every day.
Yeah, and trying to put something in place. I never saw Mike Irvin. The worst I ever seen Mike Irvin was the year before Jimmy came. He was sitting on the bench crying because we had lost. That's the worst I ever saw him. But any other time, it was a determination in his eyes. When you looked at Troy, he had a cold, gray steel look like, I'm going forward. You may not be here with me, but I'm going forward.
Yeah.
So they don't have, and I want Dak to be this guy. I want CD to be this guy.
Do you see it in them?
But right now, you don't see it or feel it. And I'm not in their locker room, so I can't say that 100%.
That's actually I'm glad you brought that up. That was something I was wanting to touch on, or an example of it. There's been some we've seen it over at our station when listeners, fans are talking back to us, telling things. We've heard some people saying like, "Where's Dak cracking skulls? Where's Dak? Doing things."
They want to see him being Troy.
Here's the thing. And Joe, you'll be able to speak to this more accurately than just me hearing things secondhand when you talk to people in the locker room, is that you'll hear from people that they'll say, Dak will absolutely get in your face at a practice. Dak doesn't view it as productive to do it in front of people. Dak is not going is not going to show people up in front of national cameras or anything else, but you are going to be held to account by Dak in other areas at other times. It's just Dak says that is closed doors. That is for us here. We do this inside. It's nobody else's business how we address those issues.
For sure.
So leadership styles like that, from both of you, the idea of the guy who, I'm going to do it privately. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it very publicly on the sideline. The guy who, hey, I'm going to do it in coded messages. You're not even going to understand when I'm talking. I remember there was one time at practice, the 18 season I think it was, Dak would stand up in his locker and he said, we got some guys that need to practice a little bit harder. And the reporter came back and said, so, you were saying you need to practice hard. And Dak said, no, I didn't say I needed to practice hard. I said we got guys that need to practice hard. And it was like, oh, okay, Dak checking it a little bit.
Got it.
But different leadership styles. Talk about how you think those play and what value that comes from in terms of the different approaches.
Yeah, so I think on either side of the spectrum, as long as it's coming from a place of or spirit of helpfulness, then it's good. Because you do have a locker room full of grown men. These are grown men. When I messed up, I didn't need anybody to come tell me, hey, Looney, you messed that one up. You really screwed the pooch there. No, man, hey, I know, Coach, this ain't rocket science. I snapped the ball over the quarterback's head. I'm sorry. Don't cut me, please. Love you. But I think that on either side of the spectrum, whether you got those guys who are going to publicly do it or privately do it, as long as they have the mindset of the team, then that's what's going to help them move forward. And, two, with the Cowboys, man, you got to understand that I don't care what team you're playing, when you're playing, teams are going to play you like it's their Super Bowl.
Yes.
When you play the Cowboys, man, I remember being with the 49ers coming out here to AT&T Stadium thinking, oh, yeah, man, these guys are in the NFL. They got it all. They got the nicest facilities, this and that. Man, we're about to go try to, take their heads off right now. And that's what the mentality. Yeah, that's the mentality of the league outside of the Cowboys. It's like even when the Cowboys are losing right now.
That's right.
We're going to play the rich kids.
Yeah, we're still talking about them.
We're going to play South Lake Carroll.
Yeah.
Nate, for you, was there? I mean, you guys were such a bright and big personality team. Was there anybody in those locker rooms in the '90s for you that? People wouldn't have seen public accountability, but hey, that was somebody who definitely
Tony Tolbert will call you out. Emmett, started getting vocal in the media, but our guys knew how to handle us. I was that guy. If you wanted to say something to Looney, and Looney was Leon Lett was sensitive, they'll come cuss me out. They'll be getting at me, looking at Leon. And Leon will know it's for him. But they knew that Nate didn't care. Nate was going to ball when it come time Sunday. He was going to try to do what he do. But my thing is, I asked our quarterback now, number one, I fronted him on the sidewalk in training camp 2 years ago. I said, man, you need to get. He said, no, Nate, I'm not going to do it. That ain't my style. I love my guys. And, yes, some of my guys mess up royally, run wrong routes, do bad things, but I'm not going to do it, and you got to understand that. I said, thank you, Dak, and I kept walking.
Yeah.
That's a good place to leave it right
Yeah.
there. And
Amen.
look, Nate, we
Amen.
got through the whole game without analyzing that the Cowboys.
There you go. How about that, huh?
Thank you, man.
Who good teammates
Good
now?
job, Looney. Good job.
There you go. That is bye-week content for Will Chambers, Nate Newton, and our special guest, Joe Looney. I'm Bobby Belt. This has been the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk.
Private display of leadership.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?